How often do you think about death? Is it sometimes? Always? Never? Obsessively? But no matter how much you think about it, it will happen to everyone eventually. We all know that. But how do we extend that point? Not only to our biological limit, but also to live well. Now, to do that, we should start early. Start now, while we're young. Wouldn't you want to be old but gold, old school but cool, aged like fine wine, right? Now, you might be wondering, why am I, a 17-year-old, talking about death? So let me tell you a little bit about how I grew up. You see, yes, that's me. My dad happens to be a medical doctor. And my mom is a medical doctor. And my grandma is a medical doctor, and you'll never guess. My grandpa is a medical doctor. So every day, for 17 years now, after school, when my friends would be going home, I'd be going to the hospital instead. Because home was synonymous with hospital to me. So every day, I would go there and spend my afternoons, and I still do. So one day, I could be walking past the nursery, seeing newborn babies in their incubators, pink and active, just as cute as Mudang. Yeah. And on another day, I would walk past the emergency room and see people bleeding be taken from the road, needing an amputation, or bleeding from knife fights, from road accidents. And on another day, I would walk past the ICU and see people in respirators unable to breathe from heavy long-term smoking, or hooked up to monitors, unconscious, nearing their last moments of life. So hey, life is precious. In fact, you sitting here right now, the fact that you are sitting here, the chance of that is 1 in 10 to the power of 2.7 million. That's 10 with 2.7 million zeros at the end of it. It's an unfathomably small number. So isn't it paradoxical that we tend to fear the very thing that tells us we can keep being alive? Aging. Because not all people get to be old. And even then, not all old people are healthy either. If the average age of the world is 73.3 for humans in 2024, and our biological limit is 122, must we be doing something wrong? But the irony in it is, I was the one to not care. Even seeing all of that, I realized the miracle in life, but I wasn't scared urgently enough to actually do something. Until I had to. When I was 12, I started getting tired very easily. And my heart would beat randomly very fast, even while I wasn't moving or exercising. So I had to be hooked up to this monitor called a heart Holter monitor to see what was actually wrong. And turns out, I had tachycardia. That means that if I continued like this, I would risk having a lifelong heart condition and could risk heart failure. So of course, I was terrified out of my mind. What could a 12-year-old think? But it could have been the best thing that had ever happened to me. Because I started being so health conscious. I started exercising almost ritualistically, eating healthy whole foods, meditating, sleeping enough, and before I knew it, I couldn't remember how the heart palpitations felt anymore. I had literally melted away my fate. And so can you. But I know what you're thinking. I'm not sick yet, right? I'm still young, wild, and free. A few drinks wouldn't hurt. A few smokes wouldn't hurt. 3 hours of sleep wouldn't hurt, and 3 buckets of chicken nuggets wouldn't hurt. But the science begs to differ. In the studies of health behaviors and mortality in adolescents, the risk of premature death lowers by 50% if adolescents commit to healthy behaviors early on. And also, across 3 decades, since 1990, it's been recorded the same information. 30 to 50% of a decrease in premature death, decrease in that risk just by committing to a healthy diet, regular exercise, no substance use, and having a strong social circle. So, here, you can clearly see, on one side, it's what heavy drinking can do. This is a 15-year-old's brain. On the left, it is a healthy one, and on the right, it's one that is a heavy drinker. And that was purely the person's choice. You can see that it completely changed their brain. And on the other side, it's drug abuse. You can see the same thing. The brain activity completely changes. And all of these things were up to choice. And here, a heavy smoker versus a non-smoker. These are all young people. So as you can see, it does hurt. But the good news is that you hold the key. The National Institute of Health states that 25% of your longevity is determined by your genetics. Have you ever heard someone say, "Oh, I'm so unhealthy, I'm so unfit, I'm not built for it"? Well, 75% is what you can change. That is up to your choice. You can play with that. Genes like APO and CETP and FOXO3, they are a mere underlying. Nothing determines your health more than what you do. These genes prevent your DNA from deterioration. But your longevity depends on you. So alas, we rocket into action. Let's see what people who are centenarians, which are people who live to over 100 years of age, do in their daily lives to actually see how to live long. It's been seen in studies of blue zones where these people live, where the average lifespan is higher. Now, I've compared and compiled the things that they do into a tangible lotus model. And you can see here, the seed models are inner peace. Inner peace leads to purpose. It's been shown by the National Institute of Aging that a 7-year increase of your life can happen once you realize you have a purpose, if you can define your purpose. So, I urge you to practice stillness meditation. That is how you can cultivate a sense of peace. You can do it right now. Breathe in, breathe out. Be here, be now. There's only the present moment. And once you can cultivate this presence, this peace inside, you can realize your purpose. And once you do this, healthy and feel-good hormones like dopamine and serotonin will be released, making your stress lower and increase the length of your telomeres, but don't mistake this to happiness. Whether popular or unpopular, as an opinion or not, happiness, in my opinion, is overrated. It's superficial and it's fleeting, but instead, peace is infinite and constant. So once you can recognize and realize and conjure up this peace in yourself, you can align with your purpose as well. Now, the petals, just like the petals of a lotus, you can rise every day and commit to movement. It represents your physical body. Centenarians move every 20 minutes. It's part of their integral lifestyle. They don't focus on rigorous exercise, but they're very active in their everyday lives, and the soil represents nutrition. Centenarians are 95% plant-based, and they eat whole foods, and they sometimes have Mediterranean diets. But I'm not telling you to completely change your diet. You know what works best for you, and you know what makes you feel good. So do that. And yes, adolescents, I'm talking to you. Centenarians sleep a lot. At least 7 hours of sleep. I know, it's kind of hard to ask for, but it's possible. And finally, connectedness, the roots of the lotus. Ultimately, humans are social animals, so we thrive on healthy relationships. We feel safe and we feel like we have belonging if we have healthy relationships. In fact, the longest study done by Dr. Robert Waldinger, over 85 years by Harvard University, shows and suggests that people who lived longer and who were the happiest were those who had the warmest connections with other people. So yes, that family dinner is productive. Going out with your friends is productive. Having small conversations is indeed productive. But I'm sorry to break it to you. Nothing. Absolutely nothing will happen. You can listen to me talk for another hour and look at as many research papers as you want. But absolutely nothing will happen until you rewire your identity. But luckily, the adolescent brain is malleable. It's the most malleable that it can be right now. So we can take advantage of that. The limbic system is often in competition with the still developing prefrontal cortex. And that means we're at the peak of risk-taking, the peak of forming our independence, the peak of forming identity. So we can take advantage of it. Instead of seeing it as rebelliousness, recklessness, or heightened moodiness, we can harness it and use it to propel us into the longevity revolution. Be the lotus. Once you can embody the seeds, the flower, the roots, the soil, you can enter the longevity revolution. So, in the Spider-Man universe, we say, with great power comes great responsibility. But in the universe of longevity, with great power comes great neuroplasticity. So since identity is the core of all processes, and processes are the core of all outcomes, once you can change your identity and say, I am a healthy person, I embody longevity, you can achieve it. You can try this with anything in your life. Whoever you want to become, even if you don't believe it yet, try telling yourself you embody this identity and see what happens. It becomes second nature. In fact, say it with me right now. I am a healthy person. 3, 2, 1. You're starting to believe it now? But if you keep telling yourself this, you will believe it, and you will do the processes that result in outcomes of longevity. So become the lotus. So it's now your time to enter the longevity revolution. Life is a miracle, and getting to age is a privilege. So we should care now, young people. Care now to live long, live better, for ourselves and others. So I'd like to leave you with a little poem that I wrote to hopefully encapsulate this. Let youth be life's epitome, a gift so intertwined. As artist, you craft infinity. So let old age be art of time. Thank you.